Namaste, and I'm going to record this. I don't know how well it's going to do sitting on my lap, but I'm going to record this on my favorite movies. Spiritual awakening movie, which is the Train Your Dragon trilogy. And I'm just so, the beauty of this trilogy is that it doesn't apologize for anything. There's just no apology along the way for anything. It's just these Hiccup character living on the island of Burke, and Burke's under attack, quote unquote, immediate attack by dragons. What a beautiful metaphor for the seeming attacks that occur in spiritual awakening by the mind, the supposed viciousness with the mind, and the desire that attack is for the experience of attack. And this is really what Jesus is pointing to in a new covenant. He points to it in A Course in Miracles, but he's really honing in, at least for here, it's all for me, on to look at the desire for the experience of attack and see that that we are infinite light, and we can see as light beings immediately that the light doesn't know anything about attack. Our natural state of being knows nothing about attack, and then see with Jesus where the denials are. So I'll mention this for watching movies. This is not very stable on my lap. I'll mention this for watching movies is Jesus is talking about stay as the light and watch the movies as the light of divine being, which we can because we're powerful beings. And if things arise, use that thought of God that he's given from the daily lesson. Every time something arises in the movie, practice, use the thought of God, thought of God, thought of God, whatever. God is in everything I see. Whatever the course lesson is, use that and just acknowledge honesty of God is to acknowledge that that contraction is a denial of divinity. That's all it is. Every contraction, any contraction, is a denial of divinity, that we're buying into our own delusion and denying infinite light, that all there is light. So we open the movie, the first Taming Dragon, with all this destruction, and they're fighting the dragons. And Hiccup's a beautiful character of innocence, of really looking at who his identity is, and somehow not quite fitting in with the rest of the Vikings. He's just a little scrawny thing, and there are a lot of doubt thoughts coming up about who he is. And we need to doubt who we are. As long as we're thinking we're a personal identity, that's valuable to doubt that. The truth of identity of attack. And he's really questioning the attack. But he's trying to join in. He tries to join in. And surprisingly, he tries to join in with attack, and he captures himself a dragon. But things are not as what they appear, which is what we find on the spiritual journey. Jesus is showing nothing that we think. None of the thoughts we think are true. None of the ideas we have about our identity are true. And this is a really beautiful exploration of the relationship between Hiccup and his father, trying to win his father's approval. But he can't, because he can't find these dragons to be problematic like in the ways of the world. And he takes another look and ends up joining. It's just a beautiful symbol of joining. Instead of attack, to join and really see what's true, and the power of this joining with that plays out between Toothless and Hiccup in this movie, in that it converts everyone over to see things new. That's just the first movie. It's amazing. Until everyone's joining. They're all joining in a whole new way and looking at the world a different way and looking at past the attack thoughts. And the other thing I really love about this movie is there's some things that happen in the movie that the world would call lost. especially at the end. Something happens to Hiccup. I won't give away the surprise. But you're just notice this repeatedly with this character. He moves on. He doesn't hang out in Lost Land. No lost. He's just on to seeing what's true. What's the next thing immediately? This is the way things are. This is what is. And he just focuses on magnitude all the time. Got to be another way, and just following that intuition within, beyond the ideas that most would have about what's possible. And really what leadership is not leadership of this world. Leadership is acceptance of divinity and expressing divinity. That's what true leadership is, to see that there's no one to lead and no one to follow other than Christ, other than Jesus, and follow Jesus, uncompromising, following the light. In the second movie, another great movie, unwinding from both the mother and the father concepts. Really beautiful. This idea that he's less than because his mother left. And it's just an amazing journey through looking at, and again, once again, where the world would perceive a loss, Hiccup's going to move through that really quickly, and it really shows the power when we focus on love, rather than claiming that there's a loss or somebody done me wrong song, that the power of focusing on the light, infinite light within, which Hiccup does beautifully. Once again, a great joining that brings the whole, everything together again at the end, even deeper look at who he is, even deeper when there's a massive, what the world would call a massive loss at the end, and how quickly he moves to that, and he joins with Toothless again. And some of the words are astounding in this. He says, you are he just recognizes purity in his brother through Toothless, the dragon. They join again. And in the third movie, so the second movie was unwinding from the parental concept of having parents of this world that deny the light. And the third movie is unwinding from the self-concept about that attachment that formed. It was useful to be attachment for the dragons, and they served their purpose. And this is an even deeper extension beyond that, to see what's true, to see what true happiness relies, and having a bigger picture in mind, the picture of the spirit and holiness in mind, rather than the attachments to certain forms. And it's all about letting go of the form. And that this is in service to the whole. And that's the beauty of this character. He's continually in service to the whole, beyond a personal gain of anything. He has no interest in, and his primary interest is in joining. And we can see that played out over these movies. So that's just a really quick little review of just a really fun, very powerful, transcending the idea of loss very quickly by focusing on the light and holy purpose and joining. So whole community got unwound by all that work. So it's great. Amen.